Like where we start in the beginning with something like stretch, shake, and sigh is what we're seeking to do is awaken someone's somatic sense. Yeah. And their capacity to work in with and through their body, which for most of us does not come very easily for many of the reasons Gary's just spoken about very eloquently and beyond. Yeah. We learn to hold in many, many different ways. And so it actually, if we want to work with somatics really at this far end, right, in a very direct capacity, we have to start someone somewhere. Yeah, with this basic ability to move. It's amazing how frozen many of our bodies are. It's amazing how difficult, I would go as far as say most of my clients find it and have found it over the years just to do something like stretch, shake, and sigh, to truly stretch and move freely, truly freely, to truly be able to like get loose and really, yeah, shake, to truly be able to just, like Gary said, right, groan, access these natural kind of instinctual kind of sounds and really open the throat, the voice, allow it to move around. So really much of, or any sound to be carried on the breath is as Gary has just shared, is sometimes almost impossible, right? It's silent. So we start there, but over time, it's possible to begin to move toward this kind of pure somatics and somatic processing where you're working at a level where it's like, if we are, well, let's say maybe you have a client, this is Gary's speciality, so you'd probably be able to do it better than me, but they're finding that they're in scenarios where they can't vocalize their boundaries. They can't even defend themselves because there's just freeze. Yeah, freeze arises. The somatic memory, the procedural memory is what we would call it, right? Of needing to silence, tense, and contain because it wasn't safe to do otherwise. And this inhibits their ability to be able to even speak their truth in a relationship or be boundaried with their boss or even the simplest of things. So maybe you're working with a client in that capacity, or perhaps you're working with a memory. Yeah, maybe there's a memory. And when they think of that memory, what they notice is immediately, tension. Yeah, the tension comes in, tension comes in. So holding. Yeah, they notice like a tension, a stiffness comes into the arms, perhaps, or a twitching in the legs. Well, we can tend to this kind of thing. Like if you took bilateral, you could tend to it that way. So you would just notice the tension in the jaw, or notice the gripping in the hands, or notice the twitching in the legs, or whatever the feeling is. Like it could be somebody mentioned feeling sick, like a rising energy, like a sick feeling. Yeah. And then tap, and you would be able to work it through. So this is still somatic processing, right? This is like bilateral with very close somatic attendance and somatic attention and awareness. But you also could just track the somatic expression. And so this is what you see me doing in these demos, right? If there was tension here, then rather than immediately trying to alleviate that tension, which is what we sort of do, isn't it? It's like maybe we're trying to, so we would do the opposite of whatever the expression was. It would be to go inside that tension first. Let it amplify, feel it, really feel it. What does that feel like? What is it that's there? Can you even let it amplify, get a little bit stronger for a moment? And then relax and let it go, right? So with the jaw, just because we seem to be with the jaw, this would be a case there's tension in the jaw. You would like go inside it. Can you allow that tension to amplify? What does that feel like? Oh, it's like I'm I think Gary even said gritting teeth, like grit your teeth and bear it, right? It's like I'm gritting my teeth. It's like, okay, feel that. What does it feel like you're doing? But you have to give a lot of space for someone to explore, right? To just sit there and be inside it. Just kind of playing with it, and then come away from it. Just see if you can also then completely relax it. Just let the joy. And then so there's this pendulation, right? You go deep, you really go into fully inside the tension or the somatic expression, but then come away, you know. As you do that, many things can happen. It might be that emotion comes out, or a memory comes through, or the sensation shifts. It stops being tension in the jaw, and then they get heat. Because what you're doing is you're beginning to unlock the energy, right? What's got stored. maybe then they have heat down through their shoulders, or they start to feel really flushed and sweaty or shaky. So then you just go with that. You follow that. Yeah. It's like, oh, then my arms want to move. Yeah. It's like, I feel like I need to shake my arms. Like, okay, so just feel that. Sometimes you're going to get, they might become their own psychoanalyst. Oh, it just feels like I'm doing this, or feels like it's connected to that, or I'm getting a memory of this. It's like, okay, so but we're not going to get heavily into that analysis. Yeah, much like with the bilateral. It's like, ooh, that's interesting. It's like, no, just okay. Yeah, go with that. Notice that. That makes sense. Go with that. So we're very unintrusive. We're just supporting this unfolding. It's like a wave of energy, of memory, be it visual or felt, actually, to flow, right? To unfold. What you saw in the demos was ways that we can help prompt that process. Yeah. So for example, with Peter Levine's spontaneous image. Yeah, this is a very, very simple way of working, but you saw how potent it was. Very clever. It's very simple. Even without any of the rest of the ability to, let's say, track and follow a more complex and thorough somatic expression through someone's body, just spontaneous image alone, right? So you work with the tension in the jaw. It's like, what spontaneous image would automatically bring exactly the opposite feeling to this? Yeah. And then what you're going to produce is the opposite somatic response. Now, sometimes what comes up for people with spontaneous image is this feeling of like, we're trying to, there's something wrong with the first feeling. Yeah. And we're trying to get the opposite. And that's not the intention at all. What we're doing is we're seeking to open the spectrum. Everything exists in polarity on a spectrum. So when you feel one thing like tension, and then you connect with an image that spontaneously produces the exact opposite feeling, right? Like whatever that may be, you could say openness or softness. Now the spectrum of energy between the two is open, right? So by connecting with this and this, they will now start to equalize, right? It's about the equalizing of the two polarities so that resolution can occur. So you can then work back and forward between the two. It's very, very simple. It's very, very clever, and it's very, very effective. But again, it involves, yeah, some of this way of working involves like a level of freedom within an individual to actually follow what their body is asking of them. That is not accessible to everybody at all moments in therapy, no matter how clever these procedures are. So you really have to be at a place where it's obvious that the therapeutic relationship is safe enough, and that you've seen your client demonstrate within your general therapeutic process already enough ability to express, yeah, that this would become accessible. So that will mean that throughout the therapeutic process, we're introducing little moments that mirror this kind of approach. You might say like, oh, I'm really angry. Like you're just in a general therapy, I'm really angry. It's like I want to scream. Yeah. And much like Gary has described here, I might say to someone, hang on a minute. Well, do you want to? Could you? Even silently or into a pillow? What do you feel about that? I could even do it with you. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're going to have moments of inviting this kind of expression. Oh God, it just, or it's more in their gesticulation. Like, God, it makes me feel so angry. And I'll be like, yeah, like what's this? What's that? What does that feel like? And they're like, "Ugh, I just, ah." And so without being sort of silly, I'll do a lot of mirroring, because what it does is in my experiences, it helps people feel less self-conscious. Yeah. I don't do it so much that it's like I'm taking over their space or their expression, but I'm like, if they've got an angry face, I'll do an angry face with them. If they're kind of, then I'm like, yeah. So what I'm showing is this does not make me feel self-conscious. Yeah. I'm comfortable with this. So bring it. Yeah. And as I do it, usually what I notice is, as you know, as Carrie's just said, like, you know, it's what you do, it's what you display. Yeah? And also we can help bring out somatic expression in our clients through how we are. So I think I've mentioned this before, but it's worth reiterating. It's like if somebody's talking about something and it sounds to me like they're really angry, but I can see and hear that it's very held, yeah, then I might bring a bit more energy to my response. So by me saying like, oh, God, it's like you're really angry, huh? I'm bringing a bit more of that anger into my response so that they almost have like a permission. It's an energetic permission to be like, yeah, rather than be so polite and so contained, because that's how maybe they were taught to be or needed to be to stay safe. So through how we are with the movement of our body, through our vocal expression, through the energy or tonality, all these kinds of things, we can invite people to begin to engage the body and the somatic expression more freely. As we recognize they're becoming more and more able to do that, it becomes easier to move toward this kind of process, yeah, where somebody has enough interoceptive capacity and enough comfortability to be able to actually just feel and work it through simply by expressing it. And it's very powerful. Some of the demos you saw me do are offering, like, in a way, other tricks, tricks of the therapeutic trade as to how we can play with things, access things, right? Like by externalizing an object, all that kind of stuff. I've offered those as more like extensions, yeah? The active imagination protocols are inherently actually very somatic in their orientation, but they don't require as much outward movement of the body or direct expression, which again can make it more accessible for some people.